What does Australia's leading plastic surgeon look for in a digital partner? Well, in this short video, I sat down with Dr. Jack Zoumaras from Artiste Plastic Surgery to share the reality of managing a high-end practice and how Wolf IQ supports the technical backbone of his online success. We cover his online journey from starting his business back in 2014 to eventually moving to a professional agency with Wolf IQ in 2022 and his results since then. Hope you enjoy. Dr. Jack, thanks so much for joining me today. I'm very excited to ask you a few questions about your experience with Wolf IQ. But first, I'd love you to introduce yourself to who you are. Can you tell us a little bit more about Dr. Jack Zoumaras and who does Artiste Plastic Surgery serve?
Cool. Yeah. So I'm Jack Zoumaras, plastic surgeon here based in Sydney. I've been a plastic surgeon for 14 years and then training to be a plastic surgeon for over like 25 years from, high school, medical school, all of that stuff. As soon as I finished my plastic surgery training, I had an idea, even when I was a child, that I wanted to set up my own practice. So that was a vision even when I was a child, even though I didn't know what type of doctor I wanted to be. Initially it was cardiology, but I always wanted to set up my own practice. So once I finished my plastic surgery training, I started like handwriting my website, came up with the name Artiste because I didn't want it to be named just from me, because I wanted to be able to expand, do other services and not be limited by geography. So hence the name Artiste. Artiste is kind of like a French take on artists, which is what you do in plastic surgery, essentially. Basically, plastic reconstructive surgery, even if you do plastic surgery for someone that's had road trauma or say a fracture of their face, or they've got a craniofacial deformity, or they've got breast cancer, you're restoring that face or breast. Now, when someone doesn't have a deformity or trauma and they just want to improve the way they look, then it's cosmetic surgery. But ultimately, the operation is the same. It's just where you start on that timeline, whether you have to do something if something's happened, or you just want to look better. The actual surgery is the same. Because plastic surgery, even when you're doing it for reconstructive reasons, you're trying to make the form look better, and that's essentially what plastic surgery does. So essentially, we serve patients that want to improve their looks. Sometimes they're doing it for their own personal reasons. They might have had a relationship change, or maybe they've been teased all their life because they've got a larger nose or facial disproportion, or then unfortunately have cancer or craniofacial deformity and they just want to look normal. So we serve patients that just want to feel better about themselves, essentially, and get that.
That makes complete sense. And you've been operating Artiste Plastic Surgery since 2014, I think it was. Now, I imagine you've been through a few websites since then.
Yeah.
When we first met in 2022, do you remember, what the journey had been like for the first 8 years and how you'd sort of gone from hacking together that website yourself to the different paths you'd chosen?
Yeah. So initially, when you're a doctor, you feature the doctor, even though you have all this vision, you don't really understand the mechanics of how to do it. So in the beginning, it was, I think I ended up, because I did my fellowship in America, I ended up getting a pretty much what sounded like a white label of service website developer in America. And I just did a lot of plastic surgeons in America, and I just got like a cookie cutter website there. We got the design done by 99 Design, which is basically, if you're not aware of it, you just basically auction to a student designer that design a logo. So that's kind of how it all kind of started. But then as you get into it, you get a bit more sophisticated, and we've rebranded in 2019, got a new logo. And that's when we just explored getting a better website at that time as well in 2019. Where I first met Wolf IQ, essentially. And so in terms of design of the website, we've had two major, obviously the initial and then the current one, which we've always like re-energizing and looking at how to improve it.
Of course. Okay. And then in that search for the next one, the next safe pair of hands, the next partner for Artiste, do you remember what differentiated, what stood out about Wolf IQ when you first met us?
Well, I think it's just understanding what you want to achieve to your patient, and also making the website feel like what we portray in real life. Because obviously sometimes there's a discord of what the website displays, and you walk into the business and it's like, hang on, this kind of doesn't marry up. So it's good to get that understanding face to face with Wolf IQ, who actually met me in person, looked at the logo, the guidelines, say, hey, let's try and marry up the website to the actual practice so it kind of flows. So I think that's quite important, outside the actual mechanics of developing and displaying and all that sort of thing.
Very good. And since we started working together, what are the key problems that we've been able to solve for you or help with on the website and the business more broadly?
Yeah, I think our user experience, to ensure that the website is, I think when I first started, I think I think a good 60% of people or 65% of people using the website would be desktop. And now it's like
Mhm.
80-10, 80-20 the other way, where it's
Totally.
mobile. So
Yeah.
even early on in the days with Wolf IQ, we wanted to make sure that it was responsive to, iPad, tablet, iPhone. And I think that was critical. So making sure that the website still did that. Obviously, being a plastic surgery website, there's a lot of content, there's a lot of photos and videos, so it's quite
Mhm.
big. So we want to make sure it loads quickly. And obviously, every month there's things that we want to add or take away from the website. There's obviously third-party people that you deal with that I deal with separately for marketing, and connecting both of you together to try and make that harmonious as possible from a web development point of view, and in terms of the marketing metrics that we need to gather from there. So it's just been very helpful to be able to just marry that up and understanding the process from both ends.
Nice. And we've been honored to help you in the years so far, and hopefully for many more years to come. If
Right.
you're speaking to someone that was evaluating Wolf IQ compared to other web design or web development agencies, what would you tell them?
In terms of what would I tell them in terms of what Wolf Like You do, you mean?
As far as, why would you go with Wolf IQ versus another agency?
Oh, yeah, great.
Having,
Yeah, I
worked
mean,
with us for a few years, what makes us different, from what what
well,
you're seeing with other agencies?
I think your response time is probably the best. Like
Mhm.
as a doctor, as compared to other professions, like
Mhm.
when you see a lawyer or an accountant, it's like, yeah, I'll get that document for you in the next 3 days or 4 days. When you're a doctor, when you train, when someone's sick on the ward in the hospital, you need to go attend to them right away. So as a
Absolutely.
doctor, your expectation is, you ask the question, you want the answer ASAP. And that's what I love about like you. Like I send you an email personally sometimes, send your support team, and I get a response instantly. And this is not just your automated response, but actual action response within 24 hours or less. So that's what I love the most. And the fact that you just get what we want to do or just seek clarification if not.
Love it, Jack. We have a saying internally that business loves speed. We want to be the first person to respond and be that safe pair of hands for you. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. Jumping back to you and your business, Dr. Jack, if people are interested in learning more about Artiste Plastic Surgery, where's the best place they can go to learn about you and how you can help them?
Look, you can just go to our website. You can just Google or AI Dr. Jack Zoumaras or Artiste Plastic Surgery. The actual web address is artiste with an e plasticsurgery.com.au. And our Instagram handle's the same. So and we're also on Facebook as well, and Instagram and the website. So Instagram for up-to-date content behind the scenes and videos, and then the website for more deep form content about what procedures are, what they are, what they don't do. And I also generally do a live at least 2-3 times a month where I answer questions from people. So even if you're out there and you want to have plastic surgery, but you're too embarrassed to ask, or maybe you're not ready to ask, or you're not ready to come for a consult, you can just private message a question and I can just answer it anonymously, which will
Yeah,
answer your question. Yeah.
love that. Dr. Jack, thank you so much for your time today. Have a great rest of your day. And thanks, of course, for working with Wolf IQ.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.